question has come in here from none other than Maury Bakun himself. How do you suggest people test new instruments to make good decisions and not get overwhelmed? That's a great question.
Yeah, it is. I have my way, and I have the way that I help people when they come to the studio. So generally speaking, let's just say that money is not an object, okay? And you have therefore 8 or 9 different types of bass clarinets, brands, models of bass clarinets that you can try, and that's overwhelming. That's overwhelming for anybody. So you're staring down, and this works for clarinets and bass clarinets and anything, harmonicas. And my what I suggest people do: don't pay any attention to the instrument you're playing, what its brand is. Don't pay attention. Don't let anything sort of distract you from playing the instrument, and just play. Get your gut instinct. How easy is it for you to sound like you? Because you're going to sound like you no matter which of these instruments you play. I'm going to sound like me on them, and you're going to sound like you on them, and they're going to sound like them on them. And that's how it works, is that eventually you will sound like you. It may not be immediate. It may feel weird under your fingers because keys may feel differently. But ultimately, within a week, you're going to be sounding like you on any instrument, basically. Certainly any new instrument that seals properly. You're going to be able to make it sound like you. So your gut is going to be able to tell you a lot about how well this instrument lets you do that easily. And I think that's the biggest thing, is how hard is it for you to sound like you want to sound? And so that is what I ask people to do, is just play, 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 and just play through them all, and immediately put some aside that are not right for you, that feel weird. And then they do that, and I'm just sitting there handing instruments to them, and then they'll usually get a couple that they really like, probably no more than 3, and at that point, I let them play. They can sit down here in the studio, and they can play, for an hour if that's what they want to do. It's one at a time here at Earspasm, and so that's how I do it as well. If you want, you can write down some notes about the instrument. Does this feel weird? Does this feel stuffy? Does that feel funky? Does this key feel too high? Is that spring too tight? Be able to write those things. Those are all things that can get changed. But generally, it's the feel is the feel is the feel. At that point, once they ask me to come back, I have blindfolds. I I literally have blindfolds that I had printed up. They were at Clarinet Fest. They say, "Shh, I'm concentrating," and they're there. It's theirs to keep. And so anyway, they put them on, and I start handing them instruments, and they play them without knowing what I'm handing them. And invariably, I will give them the 2 or 3 that they like, but I will pull in some other ones that I think are similar to those 2 or 3 that they may not have gotten a good impression of at the beginning. And so I'll probably expand it to 4 or 5. I will also include their instrument in it if they brought one. So that way they're able to see. And in some cases, somebody like, I love this instrument. I'm like, this is great because it's free, because it's yours. And so, like, there's some people who walk out having not bought an instrument but feeling more comfortable with the one they have. That's great. That's fine. But at any rate, there are a lot of surprises in that last blindfold moment where they're able to sort of say, "Wow, I didn't think I'd like a Firebird, or I didn't think that I'd like an Ubel." And some people are like, "Oh yeah, I could tell this was the Tosca, and this is the one I want," and they walk off with it, and that's totally fine. So I feel like, but ultimately, and this is the answer to the question, is more times than not, it's the first instrument they liked at the very beginning is the one that they go home with.